The Phantom of Donner Pass. The Donner Pass in California is infamous for its dark history, but few know about the chilling encounters that happen there even today. One such incident occurred on a snowy Christmas Eve, decades after the tragedy of the Donner Party. Lucas, a truck driver, was hauling supplies through the Sierra Nevada mountains. Snow blanketed the road, making the narrow, winding paths treacherous. He decided to stop for the night at a small rest area near Donner Pass, planning to wait out the worsening storm. As Lucas sat in his cab, sipping coffee and listening to Christmas music on the radio, his headlights illuminated a figure stumbling toward him through the snow. It was a woman, dressed in tattered 19th-century clothing, a long, torn dress and a shawl that barely covered her shoulders. Lucas jumped out of his truck, his boots crunching in the snow. "Ma'am, are you all right?" he called. She didn't answer, just pointed toward the trees behind her, as if urging him to follow. "Is someone hurt?" Lucas asked, but she remained silent, her breath visible in the freezing air. Against his better judgment, he grabbed his flashlight and followed her into the forest. The snow fell harder as they trudged through the woods, the beam of his flashlight bouncing off the icy ground. She led him deeper and deeper, until they reached a small clearing. There, Lucas saw what looked like an old, abandoned campsite, torn tents, a crumbling wagon, and scattered belongings half buried in the snow. "Who's out here?" Lucas asked, but when he turned, the woman was gone. His flashlight flickered, and the air around him grew eerily silent, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Then, he heard it, faint whispers, rising and falling in the cold night air. He spun around, shining his light into the trees, but saw nothing. The whispers grew louder, turning into pained cries. Lucas felt the hair on his neck stand up as he realized the voices were all around him, coming closer. Panic set in, and he turned to run back to his truck, but his feet sank into the snow, which now felt impossibly heavy. A shadowy figure loomed ahead, tall and skeletal, its face gaunt and hollow. Its eyes locked onto his, and Lucas felt an overwhelming chill seep into his bones. The figure raised a bony hand and pointed toward the ground. Lucas looked down and froze. Scattered in the snow were human bones, gnawed clean. The whispers crescendoed into a deafening wail, and the world around him seemed to spin. When Lucas finally reached his truck, he slammed the door and sped away, not stopping until he reached the nearest town. Shaking and pale, he told the locals what he'd seen. They exchanged uneasy glances before one old man spoke. "You met her, didn't you?" the man said. "The woman from the Donner Party. She's still out there, leading the living to see what they endured." Lucas never drove through Donner Pass again. But every Christmas Eve, he says he hears faint whispers when the snow falls, reminders of the horrors frozen in that mountain pass.